The sun dipped below the horizon, leaving me alone on the narrow hiking trail as darkness encroached. The rustling leaves overhead seemed to echo with the fading day, and an unsettling quiet settled over the dense forest. With each step, the shadows deepened, and the once familiar path became an indistinct silhouette. My flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing twisted tree branches that resembled gnarled fingers reaching out to grasp me. As I walked, an inexplicable sense of being watched sent shivers down my spine. I dismissed it as nerves, attributing the feeling to the isolation of the wilderness. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it an otherworldly howl that set my nerves on edge. The trail narrowed, and the woods closed in around me, creating an oppressive atmosphere. A strange unease settled over me, and I quickened my pace, eager to escape the claustrophobic grip of the forest. A distant sound, like footsteps on fallen leaves, echoed through the stillness. I halted, my senses on high alert. The forest seemed to hold its breath as I strained to hear any signs of movement. The footsteps persisted, soft but unmistakable. My flashlight flickered, casting long, distorted shadows on the trees. A chill ran down my spine as I caught glimpses of movement in the periphery of my vision, fleeting shadows that seemed to flit away when I turned to look directly. Doubt crept in. Was it just my imagination playing tricks on me in the dark? Or was there something else, something unseen, moving in tandem with my every step? I pressed on, the eerie footsteps now echoing my own, an unsettling rhythm in the heart of the forest. The air grew thick with an unspoken tension, and an inexplicable dread hung heavy around me. As I approached a clearing, the moonlight filtered through the canopy, revealing an ancient, dilapidated cabin. Its skeletal structure loomed ominously, a relic from a forgotten time. A strange compulsion led me to investigate. Despite the warnings, my instinct screamed. Inside, the air was stale, and the silence within the cabin was deafening. Faint whispers seemed to emanate from the decaying walls, telling tales of a long, forgotten past. The temperature dropped, and I felt an unseen presence in the room, a spectral observer of my intrusion. In a corner, I noticed an old, tattered journal. As I flipped through its pages, I stumbled upon entries recounting the footsteps in the night, the haunting shadows, and the feeling of being watched. The words mirrored my own experience, and a realization struck me. Like a cold breeze, the forest retained memories, and I had unwittingly become part of its eerie narrative. With a newfound urgency, I left the cabin, the footsteps fading as I retraced my path. The whispers of the night followed me, a haunting chorus that lingered even as I emerged from the forest's grip. As I reached the trailhead, the first light of dawn pierced the sky, dispelling the darkness that had cloaked my journey. The hiking trail, now bathed in morning light, seemed innocuous, hiding the secrets that only the night had dared to reveal. I walked away, haunted by the inexplicable, a wary traveler forever marked by the medium scary tales woven into the fabric of the wilderness. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and red as I ventured deeper into the heart of the remote hiking trail. The dense forest enveloped me in shadows, and the once familiar path now seemed like an ominous corridor leading into the unknown. As I walked, the silence of the wilderness became increasingly unsettling. The only sound was the crunch of leaves beneath my boots and the distant call of unseen creatures. An eerie breeze whispered through the trees, carrying with it a sense of foreboding. The trail twisted and turned, and the dense foliage cast peculiar shapes that played tricks on my imagination. Every so often, I caught glimpses of movement out of the corner of my eye, fleeting shadows that vanished when I turned to confront them. The atmosphere grew thick with an unspoken tension, and a feeling of being watched settled over me like a heavy cloak. I quickened my pace, trying to shake off the irrational fear that gripped my senses. As darkness descended, I reluctantly turned on my flashlight, its feeble beam struggling to penetrate the inky blackness. The rustling of leaves intensified, now accompanied by an occasional snap of a twig, echoing like distant footsteps. A sudden chill ran down my spine when I noticed a peculiar arrangement of rocks by the trailside, stones stacked in an unnatural formation, resembling a crude altar. The air grew colder, and the forest seemed to close in around me, as if nature itself was holding its breath. Unease gnawed at me, urging me to turn back, but curiosity propelled me forward. The trail led me to an ancient, dilapidated cabin nestled in a small clearing. The structure stood as a silent witness to the passage of time, its windows shattered and its time-worn walls sagging. I cautiously approached the cabin, my flashlight flickering with every step. The creaking door swung open with a haunting moan, revealing a darkness within that seemed to defy the laws of physics. I hesitated, but, against my better judgment, stepped inside. The air was heavy with the scent of decay, and an oppressive silence enveloped the cabin. Dust motes danced in the feeble light as my footsteps echoed through the hollow space. In the corner, a tattered journal lay open, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and unsettling drawings. As I scanned the pages, a distant whisper echoed in the cabin, indistinct voices murmuring words I couldn't comprehend. A cold gust of wind extinguished my flashlight, plunging me into complete darkness. Panic set in as I fumbled for my flashlight, the whispers growing louder and more insistent. Shadows danced around me, taking shape and form in the obscurity. I felt an unseen presence, as if the very essence of the forest had awakened to witness my intrusion. With a sudden rush of wind, the cabin door slammed shut, sealing me in the suffocating darkness. The whispers transformed into guttural moans, and the air vibrated with an otherworldly energy. Fear paralyzed me as I became acutely aware that I was not alone. In the pitch-black cabin, I could sense a spectral presence moving closer. The temperature dropped, and an icy breath brushed against my neck. As I struggled to open the door, the whispers crescendoed into anguished wails, echoing the untold stories of those who had ventured into this haunted sanctuary. Finally, the door gave way, and I stumbled out into the night. The cabin stood silent, its dark secrets lingering within. I sprinted down the trail, fueled by a primal fear that refused to subside. The forest seemed to exhale a sigh of relief as I emerged into the clearing, bathed in the moonlight. The distant echoes of haunting whispers faded, and the shadows returned to their natural state. I continued my escape, haunted by the chilling encounter in the heart of the wilderness. The hiking trail, once a path of adventure, now held the indelible marks of a journey into the unknown, a medium scary tale etched into the fabric of the untamed woods.